Ever wonder what happens when you leave your husband home alone for 3 weeks? Spoiler alert, it's a disaster that smells like Taco Bell mixed with lentils. So, let me paint you a picture. I had a fantastic trip planned to South Korea with friends who live there. My husband, 40 years old and a grown man, insisted he'd be perfectly fine at home, managing to feed himself while I jetted off to experience adventures abroad. I trusted him, thinking, he's an adult. How bad could it be? Oh, how naive I was. Within the first couple of days, all hell broke loose. It all started when my husband decided to prepare an impressive meal. Proud of his culinary skills, or lack thereof, he thought cooking a 15-pound bag of lentils all at once was a brilliant idea. He somehow managed to break my stove during the process. I can only guess at this point that he tried fixing it with his usual flair, which isn't much. But here's the kicker. After putting that massive pot of lentils on the stove, instead of plating some up for himself, he just went ahead and dug into it straight from the pot. When he was done, rather than cleaning it up like a responsible adult, he just crammed that massive pot filled with uneaten lentils into the fridge. I haven't quite figured out how he managed to break one of the fridge shelves during this chaos. But I mean, it's my husband we're talking about. He's about as graceful as a hippo on roller skates. Once the lentil situation hit that traumatic high note, he made what I can only call a series of poor life choices. Not content to learn from his mistakes, he resorted to ordering incessant amounts of Taco Bell through DoorDash for the next 2 weeks. He clearly thought he was living the high life, wolfing down tacos and burritos without a care in the world. But wait, there's more. Somehow, he got the grand idea to buy a stash of honeycombs from one of our friend's fathers. You know, because who doesn't love sweet, sticky beeswax? Adding honeycombs to the mix was mind-blowing. So now, not only was he consuming terrible tacos, but he was snacking on waxy honeycomb too. It wasn't until I got home that I learned the true meaning of chaos. Fast forward to the morning of my return. I woke early at 5:30 a.m. to a sound that can only be described as someone revving a motorcycle in my bedroom. No, it wasn't a motorcycle. It was my husband. The mighty Taco Bell lentil combination unleashed in the worst way imaginable. The acrid stench hit me like a freight train, forcing me to throw open every window to ventilate our house. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. Meanwhile, the cacophony of his bathroom escapades quickly turned my dog into a nervous wreck. With every honking noise, the poor thing scrambled under the couch, unsure whether to run for safety or confront a horror movie. And there I was, considering joining my dog, but staying put felt necessary. The battle between stink and fresh air waged on, and I was losing. Then it just clicked. I could no longer put up with the entire fart symphony redefined. I screamed that I was going to the diner for breakfast and took my dog with me, who clearly preferred the great outdoors over staying in our home anymore. As I sat in the diner, waiting for my husband to degas himself, I couldn't help but cackle at the absurdity of my life. The dog, now strapped in a pink leash kit harness with emotional support human stitched on it, sat under the table, taking the whole situation in stride, oblivious to how ridiculous we both looked. As my morning started off in the most bizarre and stinky way imaginable, I couldn't shake the thought that perhaps I should have dragged him on that trip. What turned out to be a hot mess of Taco Bell, lentils, and honeycomb had become a memory I'd certainly toss into my comedy repertoire. So, yeah, that was my delightful welcome home.